This video is for nurses. I decided to make this video for nurses because it's my opinion that the state of Indiana has lost their mind when they're prosecuting nurses to the extreme lengths they're going when prosecuting nurses, and then even when they're obtaining convictions, they're publicizing the records and whatnot. I've never seen anything like this. And then situations where we're able to resolve criminal charges with diversions or some sort of non-felony conviction, even a miscellaneous reckless records keeping, the Office of Inspector General is basically seizing the nursing license, and these nurses aren't allowed to work in any facilities that take Medicare or Medicaid. Essentially, even for minor crimes, the Office of Inspector General is preventing nurses from working. This is absolutely insane. I've never seen this in the 13 years of my practice, but right now, it seems to me, from my perspective and perspective of my clients, they're really going after nurses. So I just want to make this video to try to give some background. And some people watching this might be like, well, I don't have to watch a video like this. I don't commit crimes. Of course. But that person needs to be watching this video in case you're investigated, because nurses are making little mistakes that are adding up, that are affecting their future. So I just want to take you through a real quick scenario of what I'm seeing. Typical case is a nurse shows up for the shift. They're in 4 hours, 5 hours, and all of a sudden they get a call from their supervisor to meet them. So having no idea anything is happening or anything like that, they go down and meet with their supervisor. They typically walk in and they have the supervisor. They also have a person from human resources, and there might be a security personnel there, or even a plainclothes officer, or in some cases, an actual officer. If you're a nurse and you walk into that situation, supervisor, HR, and police officer, even if they're wearing a suit, still law enforcement, just understand, things aren't going in your direction. That's a fact. And so, a typical situation, nurses are being brought in, have a seat, we want to ask you a few questions. And they start going through, hey, last week you worked Thursday, do you remember how many pills you handed out? Do you remember giving medication to this individual? Do you remember logging this medication? Do you remember wasting this medication? They go through these things rapid fire. And the nurses who are asking these questions, they don't understand every single thing they say can and will be used against them. Even if they're not at the jail, even if they're not under formal arrest, anything they say can and will be used against them. It's my advice, if you walk into a situation and your human resources person is there, your supervisor, that's already a giant red flag. If there's also an officer there, there should be red flags going everywhere. And the first words out of your mouth need to be, I don't want to answer any questions without talking to my attorney. That should be number one. I don't practice in front of the nursing board. I regularly refer those cases out. However, I do know for a fact that it's better to quit a job than to be fired from a job for career purposes for nurses. Additionally, you may be asked to take a drug test. It's a hit or miss. If you know it's going to be clean, then take the drug test. If you even question if it's going to be clean, or if you took medication prescribed to you that they could infer affects your ability to be a proper nurse, even a low-dose pain medication that you have a prescription for, well, you shouldn't be taking that while practicing nurse. That's ridiculous. But if you even suspect that might be used against you, I wouldn't take a drug test. So that's the first one. Typically, no one gets arrested at that first situation. And then typically, nurses are either fired or they're not allowed to work anymore while they're in investigation. They typically go home, and then a couple different things happen. Representative from the prosecutor's office, or hey, I'm from the attorney general's, I'm just an inspector, or I'm a detective. They'll reach out wanting to give a statement. Many nurses at this time wrongly think that this is their time to go explain their version of events. I want to let you know that is incorrect, and that is actually going to be devastating. There's no scenario where you go in and talk to a detective, you go in and talk to a prosecutor, you go in and talk to the attorney general and explain your version of events. You're going to walk out there and a person is going to be like, oh, this is just a giant misunderstanding. That doesn't happen. They're getting you in to meet with you, to try to get you to make an admission. If they can't get you to make an admission, they want to try to get you to make some inconsistent statements. Well, you told us you were working last Tuesday 10 to 12, but I have your records right here, and it clearly says you worked from 9 to 1. So you lied. No, I didn't lie. I made a mistake. I was asked questions at the last minute at this meeting with my HR and supervisor. I wasn't expecting to answer these questions. Of course I made mistakes. Oh, so you make lots of mistakes, don't you? It's just devastating. Don't meet with the attorney general. Don't meet with a detective or the prosecutor. Those are terrible ideas. And those will only hurt you and hurt your ability to be a nurse in the future. The third giant mistake we're seeing is nurses receiving some sort of documentation from the attorney general's office saying consumer complaint or you have to answer this written report because of inconsistency. And again, this may be in addition or instead of being called in and talk with the detective or prosecutor, but this is another chance. They want you to sign their statement, and they always say it's due within 20 days. Otherwise, we're going to make decisions without you. Well, I'm going to let you know they're going to make those decisions with or without your input, and they're hoping once again that you make an inconsistent statement or you make some sort of admission. There's no benefit to filling those things out. At that point, they're either going to file criminal charges or they're not. If they file criminal charges, you need to have an attorney. There's no situation where you can wing this on your own or you can just possibly just see what happens. You need to protect yourself. You need to protect your nursing license. In fact, you need to be calling an attorney the moment you have that meeting, that first meeting with the supervisor and the HR and possibly a police officer. When you tell them, I want to talk to my attorney, you need to call an attorney and call someone who's experienced and actually does trials, know what they're doing. Nursing cases, from the state's perspective, can get incredibly complex, incredibly fast, because you're looking at lots of evidence, you're looking at paperwork, which juries don't necessarily like, and juries love nurses. We just do. As a society, we love nurses, we trust nurses, rightfully so. They're the ones helping us in a time of need. So the state of Indiana, the prosecutors, the attorney generals, they realize the easiest and quickest way to a conviction is to get the nurse to make an admission or inconsistent statements. Don't do either one of those. You have to do everything possible to beat your case if you're a nurse, or you'll not be able to practice. If you have any questions, give me a call, 317-632-3642. And remember, always plead the fifth.